Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into, well, one of the biggest frustrations in language learning, right? That nagging feeling of always translating in your head. If you've ever felt slow or maybe unsure or just, mentally exhausted trying to speak English,
Yeah.
constantly running thoughts through your native language first, then you know exactly the struggle we're talking about. It's like your brain is trying to have a conversation while also simultaneously acting as its own real-time interpreter. It's a lot.
It really is.
We've been delving into some really fascinating source material that, honestly, promises a powerful way to bypass that mental interpreter entirely. So our mission today is to extract the most impactful, actionable insights from these sources, stuff that can fundamentally change how you approach English,
Right.
helping you train your brain to stop that endless translation loop and actually start thinking directly in English.
We're looking for that shortcut, to real fluency where
Yeah.
thoughts and words just connect effortlessly. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is the underlying cognitive process. The thing that most language learners grapple with, often without really fully understanding its profound impact.
Right. It's happening under the surface.
Exactly. When you're constantly translating, you're not just swapping words. It's not just A equals B. You're placing this immense cognitive burden on your brain. You're activating multiple linguistic centers at the same time, which, it creates a significant bottleneck in real-time communication. So this deep dive, it's about understanding not just the what, but the why of that burden.
Mechanics behind it.
Precisely.
Right.
And then crucially, how we can effectively sort of re-engineer that process, aiming for true linguistic efficiency and, ultimately effortless expression.
That explanation, the cognitive burden, that really clarifies the why behind the frustration, doesn't it? But let's dig deeper. Part 1, the invisible break. Why translating slows you down. Why does relying on translation feel like hitting this massive invisible wall every time you try to speak? It's like, I don't know, your brain gets stuck in quicksand.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Our sources use a really great analogy for this. They describe translating every single sentence from your native language into English as, get this, using two brains at once. Now, think about that for a second. It's not just inefficient. It's mentally exhausting. Imagine your brain's working memory, that sort of mental desktop where you hold and manipulate information, right?
Right, that limited space.
Exactly. When you translate, you're constantly shuffling multiple documents on that desktop. First, there's the original idea you want to express. Then, the native language word for it. Next, the active search for the English equivalent. Then the English word itself. And only then do you finally build the English sentence, this constant, really intricate shuffling. It just overloads that limited mental workspace.
Absolutely. It's like trying to run too many programs at once on an old computer.
Totally.
Yep.
And what's the real cost of this overload? It's not just about speed, is it?
Not at all. It leaves less capacity for the crucial stuff, like actively listening to who you're talking to, picking up on, the emotional nuances in their voice.
Yeah, the subtleties.
Or forming truly complex, coherent thoughts yourself. Or even just keeping up with the natural rhythm of the conversation. It creates this significant bottleneck, not just in speed, but in the overall richness, the fluidity of your communication.
So it's not just about being slow, it's actively diminishing your brain's capacity for genuine, dynamic engagement.
That's exactly it.
Let's use that specific example our source provided. It's a really relatable one, I think, for many learners. If your native language is, say, Hindi, and you want to express the simple thought, I want water, your mental journey with translation often looks like this. First, you think, mujhe pani chahiye in Hindi. Then, your brain has to consciously translate each part. Mujhe becomes I, pani becomes water, and chahiye becomes want. Finally, you assemble it. I want water. Now, that process might seem quick when you do it for just one word.
Right, in isolation.
But repeat it for every word, every phrase, every single sentence, and that cumulative mental overhead becomes immense. It creates a noticeable delay, a kind of mental stutter.
Yeah, hesitation.
Which then makes you feel unsure or confused or just generally uncomfortable when you're trying to have a smooth conversation in English. You might even find yourself kind of losing the thread or maybe simplifying what you want to say because the translation process just can't keep up.
And that precisely is the core of the inefficiency. The cognitive load isn't just about finding the right English words. It's about forcing a concept or feeling to filter through your native language's specific grammar and structure before mapping it onto English.
That extra step.
That intermediary step, yeah. This constant processing through a second language acts as a fundamental bottleneck. It's truly like having this unnecessary, maybe well-intentioned, but unnecessary interpreter inside your head for every single thought.
Yeah.
Your brain is spending valuable energy on translation that it could otherwise be using for higher level stuff like deeper comprehension, expressing subtle nuances, or just processing new information coming in during the chat.
That makes total sense.
Now, contrast this with the ideal state, right? The hallmark of true fluency. When you feel thirsty, for instance, a native English speaker doesn't consciously think, okay, I am experiencing dryness, therefore I desire liquid.
No, of course not.
No, they just feel thirsty, and the sentence, I want water, it appears, naturally, instantaneously, ready to go. There's a direct, unmediated connection between the internal feeling or thought and its immediate English expression. This direct connection, this sort of intuitive leap from an internal state to an external English word or phrase. That's what we're aiming for.
Right.
So this section, it isn't just about identifying the problem. It's about profoundly understanding why the current translation-based method is so inefficient. And that deep understanding, that's what lays the crucial groundwork for embracing a much more effective and, frankly, liberating approach to thinking in English.
Liberating is a good word for it.
It shifts your perspective. You stop seeing language as just a code to be translated and start seeing it as a direct, intuitive medium for your thoughts and feelings.
That vivid explanation of the mental burden, it really clarifies the why. But okay, clarity on the problem is just the first step, right? The real question for our listener, for you, is how do I actually change this? How do we rewire our brains to bypass that internal interpreter?
Exactly. The how.
Thankfully, our sources offer not just theory, but a powerful 5-step method designed to begin that very process, like right away. And these aren't abstract theories. They're direct, actionable brain training exercises.
Very practical.
Yeah, specifically designed to forge new neural pathways connecting feelings, actions, and English words directly, completely bypassing your native language.
Indeed. These steps are absolutely foundational. They guide you away from that cumbersome word-for-word translation idea and firmly towards a direct concept-to-English way of thinking.
Okay, let's break them down.
Let's do it. And let's look not just at what to do, but why it works, on a cognitive level, and how to really maximize its effectiveness. So, step 1, name objects around you in English.
Simple enough.
Sounds simple, right? The core instruction is incredibly straightforward. Look around your immediate environment, your room, your office, outside, and pick out everyday objects, a chair, a door, maybe your laptop. The key is you don't just think the word, you actually say it out loud, even if it's just quietly to yourself. You look at a chair and say, this is a chair. See a fan? That is a fan. Look out the window. I see a window.
Saying it out loud is important then.
Crucial. Because the unique power here lies in creating direct visual-to-word associations. When you see a chair and immediately say chair in English, you're not just adding a word to your vocabulary list somewhere. You're actively reprogramming your brain's default lookup.
Ah, reprogramming. I like that.
Think of your brain like a supercomputer, right? Traditionally, when you see an object, your brain's first instinct is probably to search for its name in your native language.
Yeah, that's the habit.
Then it translates that native word into English. This exercise, however, creates a direct shortcut to the English file. It's like installing a dedicated high-speed neural pathway that completely bypasses the whole translation server.
Cutting out the middleman.
Exactly. You're teaching your brain that the visual input of this object directly corresponds to this English sound and concept, without needing to first activate the native language word for chair or window or whatever it is.
So it's not just memorizing.
No, it's about making English the first thought, the immediate, intuitive response, not the second one that comes after translation. And look, for those who might feel a bit silly speaking to themselves.
Yeah, I could see that.
Remember, this is a private, powerful act of neuro-linguistic training. Start small, maybe 5-10 objects a day, then build up. The goal is to build this fundamental layer of direct English understanding from the ground up.
That makes so much sense. It's about cutting out that middle step for even the most basic words, right from the moment you see something.
Yeah.
So, okay, once we're getting comfortable with individual objects, what's the natural progression? Where do we go next?
Right. Once you've started building those direct associations with single words, the next crucial step is step 2. Use simple English sentences in your head.
Okay, moving to sentences.
Yep. This moves you beyond just labels and into the realm of basic thought construction. The instruction is to formulate simple internal sentences about what you're doing or observing. Think things like, I am opening the door, or maybe I am cooking rice, or looking outside, the sun is bright.
Just silently in your head.
Silently, yes. The source suggests repeating these slowly, maybe 2 times each. The real value here is that you're training your brain to think in complete grammatical units, even if it's silent. It's like mentally rehearsing the natural rhythm and flow of English.
Like an inner monologue.
Exactly, an inner monologue in English. This internal talk builds comfort with the internal sound and structure of the language. Many learners get stuck trying to construct, perfect, complex sentences right away.
Yeah, the perfectionism trap.
Big time. But here, the focus is purely on simplicity and consistency. Don't worry about complex grammar at this stage. The goal is just to build the habit of forming a complete thought directly in English rather than just grabbing individual translated words.
So it prepares you for actually thinking a full thought in English.
Precisely. It builds the confidence that you can express full ideas without constantly leaning on translation. And if you find yourself automatically translating, just pause. Try to visualize the action and then connect that visual directly to the simple English sentence, I am drinking water. See it, think it in English.
Got it. So it's a great stepping stone from just naming things to actually constructing thoughts, building that internal English voice. And then I guess we bridge to making it audible, right?
That's exactly the next step. And this is where the real bridge to spoken fluency begins. Step 3, talk to yourself in English.
Okay, talking aloud now.
Yes. This step is incredibly powerful and honestly often overlooked. You take those internal sentences from step 2 and you begin vocalizing your thoughts about your daily activities. While you're walking, you might literally say out loud, I'm walking to the bus stop.
Even if no one's around.
Especially if no one's around. In the kitchen, I need a spoon. The source specifically emphasizes saying it aloud. This bridges that gap between internal thought and spoken English. It's consistent, low-pressure speaking practice.
Low pressure, that's key.
Totally. There's no one to judge you, no conversation partner you need to impress, no pressure to respond immediately. You're simply normalizing English as a functional tool for your everyday self-narration.
Normalizing it, making it feel less foreign.
Exactly. And crucially, this builds muscle memory for articulation and pronunciation. When we say muscle memory here, it's not just for your mouth, but for that whole neural pathway connecting the thought to the physical act of speaking.
The whole chain.
The whole chain. It's about making the English sounds feel as automatic and natural as, say, walking or reaching for a cup. By vocalizing, you also get to hear your own English voice.
Which can be weird at first.
It can be. But it helps you identify areas for improvement, pronunciation, rhythm, all in a totally low-stakes environment. Look, many learners feel self-conscious talking to themselves, but remember, this is just a private rehearsal. Embrace the awkwardness. It's actually a sign you're pushing your boundaries and truly rewiring your brain for direct English output.
Okay, I can definitely see how that would make it feel so much more natural over time, like building confidence without the pressure. But what about, getting input from actual native speakers, developing that natural cadence and rhythm?
Great question. That's where step 4, watch short English videos with subtitles and mimic comes in. This step isn't just about passive listening, it's about active engagement.
Active engagement? How?
The method involves listening to phrases in the video, pausing it, and then repeating them exactly as you heard them. For example, if you hear a character say, "What are you doing?" you pause the video and you repeat, "What are you doing?" trying to match the sound.
Mimicking them.
Exactly. This step focuses not just on understanding the words, but on active listening for the intonation, the stress patterns, the natural phrasing. You're absorbing the rhythm and musicality of English directly from native speakers.
Which is crucial for sounding natural, right? Not just grammatically correct.
Absolutely crucial. It's the difference between sounding like a textbook and sounding like a person. Subtitles are a key tool here, especially at first. They help bridge any initial understanding gaps, connecting the sound to the written word.
Okay.
But the real power comes from the repetition, mimicking aloud. It drills the sounds, the patterns, the natural pauses into your memory. It helps you internalize the authentic flow of spoken English so it doesn't sound robotic or stilted when you speak.
Makes sense. Any tips for doing this effectively?
Yeah, choose short clips, maybe 30 seconds to a minute long, from shows, interviews, YouTube videos, whatever you find interesting, as long as the dialogue is clear. Focus on short, meaningful phrases, not just single words, and really try to connect the sounds you're making to the meaning you see in the subtitles.
So it's ears and mouth working together.
Precisely. You're training them simultaneously, creating a powerful link between input and output. A common pitfall here is just passively watching. You must actively pause and repeat to make this effective brain training.
Got it. Pause and repeat. So it's not just what they say, but how they say it, and you're actively practicing that. And that feels like a huge piece of sounding fluent. And then for really cementing all this new thinking and speaking, making it stick.
For consolidation and active recall, we move to the 5th step. Step 5, keep a mini English diary.
Writing it down.
Writing it down. And the core instruction is beautifully simple. Write just 2 or 3 lines daily. Think basic sentences like, today I went to school, I met my friend, we ate lunch together.
Just short and sweet.
Exactly. The source encourages adding more lines as you feel comfortable, but the key is consistency and brevity. This reinforces the learning through writing, which actually engages a different set of cognitive processes than speaking or listening.
How so?
While writing forces you to consciously construct your ideas in English, it solidifies grammar, expands how you use vocabulary, and helps you build a narrative flow in a structured, deliberate way.
More deliberate than speaking.
Right. It provides a personal record of your progress, which can be really motivating. And it forces you to recall and apply new vocabulary and sentence structures in context. Unlike speaking, writing allows for self-correction and refinement. You can look things up, fix mistakes. That helps embed the correct patterns more deeply.
So it's low-pressure practice for expressing more complex thoughts.
Exactly. Connecting ideas without the time constraints of a live conversation. Even on days when you feel totally drained, just jotting down 2 sentences in English about your day keeps those neural pathways active and growing. This deliberate act of creation in English ensures a deeper encoding of the language.
Wow, those 5 steps, they really build on each other, don't they? From basic objects to internal thought, to speaking aloud, mimicking, and finally deliberate writing. It feels like a complete brain training regimen, really focused on establishing those direct English pathways.
That's the goal, a holistic approach.
Now that we have these powerful foundational steps, how do we integrate them, make them part of our daily lives? Our sources propose some brilliant practice sessions designed to put this thinking out loud method into action. And for you, listening, I really encourage you to actively participate in your mind as we go through these. Don't just listen. Try to form the sentences with us.
Yeah, these real-world scenarios are all about embedding English thinking into the very fabric of your day. Making English not just something you study in a book, but something you actually do consistently, as a natural part of your routine.
Making it functional.
Exactly. It normalizes the language as a tool for interacting with your environment and, critically, with yourself. The more English gets intertwined with your daily actions, the more effortless it becomes.
Okay, so where do we start?
Let's start with situation 1. At home. This is your comfort zone, right? Where you spend a significant amount of time, usually without external pressures. The idea is to practice sentences related to your routine home activities.
Like what?
For example, as you're getting ready in the morning, you might narrate, out loud or in your head. I am brushing my teeth. When you're making coffee, I am making coffee. Looking for your keys, I'm looking for my keys. Or maybe just relaxing, I want to sit on the sofa.
Simple, everyday stuff.
Exactly. The source suggests repeating each of these sentences individually, maybe a couple of times, and then try to string all 4 together like a little narrative of your morning.
Okay, and the purpose here?
Integration. Pure integration. By making English thinking a part of your mundane, routine actions, things you do every single day without even thinking about them, you're making the language feel natural and immediately accessible.
Connecting action and description.
Precisely. You're moving it from the realm of academic study to practical, personal utility, building that subconscious connection between your everyday actions and their English descriptions. This active self-narration transforms routine into language practice, almost without you noticing.
That's a powerful way to frame it. You're literally doing something and simultaneously describing it in English, so it's no longer this abstract exercise.
Okay.
Okay, what about when you step outside that house? The environment changes.
Then we shift to situation 2, on the road. This scenario actively encourages descriptive language and real-time observation in English. As you're outside, maybe walking to work, going for a stroll, even just looking at a bus window practice, describing what you see around you.
Like a running commentary.
Sort of, yeah. I see a red car. The road is busy. It is hot today. I am walking to the store. The prompt here is to truly imagine yourself in these situations, if you're not actually there, and consciously describe your surroundings directly in English.
Okay. And the benefit of this?
Well, first, it helps you build and activate vocabulary for your immediate environment. Vehicles, weather, buildings, people, all the stuff you encounter daily. But maybe more importantly, It trains spontaneity.
Spontaneity, right. Because things are happening in real time.
Exactly. You're not planning what to say. You're reacting to your dynamic environment and expressing those observations directly in English, in moment. It pushes you to think on your feet, which is absolutely essential for real conversation, where the world doesn't pause while you translate.
Good point.
It builds your ability to process visual input directly into English output. See it, say it.
And what about for those of us who spent a good chunk of our day in a more structured, maybe more formal setting, like school or work?
Absolutely. That brings us nicely to situation 3, at school or work. This applies the thinking in English concept to those professional or academic settings where you often need more specific or, let's say, functional phrases.
Okay, like what kind of phrases?
You practice sentences relevant to those contexts. Things like, I am opening my notebook, the teacher is writing on the board, I am sending an email. Or even just internal states, I am feeling sleepy.
Relatable.
Very. The source even provides a specific relatable prompt. What do you say when you're tired? Try it. I need coffee.
I need coffee.
No.
Definitely useful.
Isn't it? So this segment focuses on those functional phrases and common expressions of states and actions that are just vital in these more formal or task-oriented environments. By practicing these phrases, you're basically equipping yourself with the language tools for common interactions and needs in your professional or academic life.
Building confidence for those specific situations.
Exactly. You're essentially anticipating common scenarios and preloading your brain with the direct English responses. That reduces hesitation when those moments actually pop up in real life. It moves English beyond just casual chat into more structured, purposeful use.
These scenarios are fantastic. They really drive home the idea that English isn't just for textbooks or classes. It's for your entire life, isn't it? From the moment you wake up until you go to bed.
That's the aim. Full integration.
Okay, now for a bit of a mental workout. Our sources present a series of challenges designed to test your on-the-spot English thinking. This is where you, listening, really get to put your brain to the test. I'll give you a situation, and I encourage you, pause, then try to describe it only in English, directly, without translating. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's that immediate, unmediated connection between thought and English word.
Yeah, this section is all about building speed and confidence in that immediate English response. The real aim isn't to construct these complex grammatical masterpieces, not at all. It's about achieving immediate, natural expression using simple, effective English.
Simple and direct.
Exactly. It's about proving to yourself in real time that you can access English directly for common, everyday needs and feelings, breaking that translation habit right in the moment it tries to kick in.
Okay, ready. Here's the first challenge. Imagine you are hungry. Pause and think. What do you say? Directly in English.
The direct, simple response. I want to eat something. See how immediate that is? It expresses the feeling, the need directly. No detour through another language. The brain directly links that physical sensation of hunger to the English phrase for wanting food.
Okay, challenge number 2. You are tired after work. What comes to mind in English?
This straightforward answer. I want to sleep now. Again, it's about conveying a basic fundamental need without overthinking the structure. It's that direct thought. Your brain makes a direct jump from feeling exhausted to the English expression of needing rest.
All right, third one. You see rain outside. What do you say in English?
The natural observation, it's raining, and maybe I need an umbrella. This combines observation with a related action or need, all within simple English phrases. Your eyes see rain, and your brain directly produces the English description and the practical thought.
Okay, next up. You can't find your phone. That immediate panic. How do you express that?
The immediate reaction, right? Where is my phone? Maybe followed by, I lost it. This shows how common questions and statements about loss or confusion can be articulated very simply and directly in English, accessing those practical questions without the detour.
Makes sense. Situation number 5. You are happy today. What's the direct English thought that springs to mind?
A simple, joyful expression, I feel good, or maybe I'm smiling. This shows how feelings and corresponding actions can be linked directly with minimal cognitive effort in English, letting the emotion directly trigger the English words that describe it.
Okay, moving on. You are watching a movie. How do you describe that experience, maybe your feelings about it?
A direct commentary could be, this is my favorite movie, or I love the story. Here you're expressing preference, a simple reason, all in accessible English. Forming an opinion and stating it directly without needing to internally translate options first.
Okay, and finally, a very relevant one for everyone listening. You are learning English. What do you say directly about that?
The perfect self-affirmation. I am learning English every day. Maybe add, it is fun. This one is vital, I think, because it's a statement about your identity, your current journey. It reinforces your role as an English learner and connects it with a positive feeling, internalizing your language journey in English itself.
That's a great one to practice.
Absolutely. And these challenges, they're incredibly powerful because they train that rapid association and response. They really highlight how simple English phrases can effectively convey this huge range of common feelings, needs, observations, all without needing to translate.
And that builds confidence.
Immense confidence. Confidence in your ability to communicate basic functional information immediately and effectively. It lays the groundwork for more complex expressions later. You start to trust that the English words will just be there, readily available when you need them. The more you do these rapid-fire connections, the more automatic they become, strengthening those direct neural pathways.
That confidence, that feeling that the words will just appear when you need them, that feels like a huge step towards real fluency. So, okay, what does this all mean for the long game? How do we make thinking in English a sustainable, natural part of our lives? Not just a set of exercises we do for a bit and then forget.
That's the crucial question, isn't it? If we connect this to the bigger picture, fluency isn't some fixed destination you just arrive at one day.
Right, it's ongoing.
It's a continuous practice.
Yeah.
A deeply ingrained habit you cultivate over time. The long-term habits we're about to discuss are absolutely critical for sustaining the progress you make with those initial 5 steps. They're about integrating English into your daily routines so deeply that it just becomes second nature.
Like breathing.
Almost. An automatic function of your mind, a seamless extension of your thoughts. These habits help you truly internalize the language, so it feels less like a learned skill you have to consciously switch on, and more like an innate part of who you are.
Okay, so what are these habits?
Habit 1. Speak English every day, even to yourself. This simple instruction is really a direct continuation, a reinforcement of our earlier steps. The key here is just unwavering consistency.
Every single day.
Every single day. By engaging in daily English dialogue, whether it's internal, in your mind, or external, when you're alone, you continually reinforce those direct mental pathways for English. It ensures English is a constantly active part of your inner world.
Keeping it alive.
Exactly. Transforming it from a foreign language you occasionally access to maybe your default internal monologue. This practice makes English feel less like a performance or a chore, and more like simply being yourself, thinking your own thoughts naturally. It keeps your English engine warmed up, ready for spontaneous use.
That's powerful. It's like building and maintaining a language muscle that's always ready to go. What about fueling that muscle, giving it constant input?
Exactly. To fuel that engine and keep those mental pathways well supplied, we need habit 2. Watch and listen to English content daily. This is the crucial input side of immersion.
Movies, podcasts, music.
All of it. Regular consumption of authentic English media, movies, TV shows, other podcasts like this one, news reports, YouTube channels you enjoy, provides continuous exposure. It exposes you to natural speech patterns, diverse vocabulary and context, and even those cultural nuances embedded in the language.
Soaking it in.
Yes. And while it might start as just passive listening, over time, especially as you apply the other techniques, it becomes active understanding. It builds your comprehension skills and subtly informs your own speech patterns. The key is just consistent exposure to authentic English, allowing you to absorb the natural way English is used, almost by osmosis. Don't be afraid to try different types of content, different accents, to broaden your exposure.
So it's not just about speaking, but also flooding your brain with real, authentic English in all its forms. How do we then bridge the gap between seeing words on a page, maybe understanding them, and confidently speaking them?
That leads perfectly into habit 3. Read short English texts out loud. This habit directly connects the visual recognition of English words with their spoken form. When you read aloud, you're not just processing the text silently in your head.
You're making sounds.
You're actively engaging your vocal cords, articulating the words, and crucially, hearing your own pronunciation. This active process improves your intonation, your rhythm, and it reinforces grammatical structures in a really tangible way. It helps internalize the flow of written English, translating it into a natural spoken cadence.
So it helps bridge reading and speaking.
Exactly. It's particularly powerful, I think, for those who might read English quite well but still hesitate to speak. Start with materials that are maybe slightly below your comfortable reading level: short stories, blog posts, news articles. Focus on clear articulation, trying to match the rhythm you hear in native English content you're listening to. This practice builds confidence in your spoken word without the pressure of a live conversation.
Okay, and once you've practiced internally with media and by reading aloud, how do you take that leap into real-world interaction? Which, let's be honest, can feel pretty intimidating for a lot of people.
It absolutely can be intimidating, but it's essential. That's where Habit 4, join English speaking groups or online calls. This is absolutely essential for applying all that internal practice you've been doing to external, spontaneous interaction. It pushes you out of your comfort zone, yes.
Definitely outside the comfort zone.
But it's where real dynamic growth happens.
Yeah.
Engaging in real-time conversations builds immense confidence, it provides invaluable feedback from others, and it allows for truly authentic communication. It's the arena where you learn to overcome that natural fear of making mistakes.
Learning by doing.
Exactly. It's where your direct English thinking truly gets tested and solidified under a bit of pressure. Look for groups specifically designed for language learners. They're usually more supportive, less judgmental. Online platforms offer a ton of opportunities now to connect with learners and even native speakers globally. Remember, every mistake is just a learning opportunity. The goal isn't perfection, it's connection. This habit moves English from a purely internal thing to a social one, where you see the immediate benefits of your hard work.
It's true, that can feel like a big step, but it's clearly where all the other habits lead. Okay, so what's the ultimate goal here? The culmination of all this daily practice and immersion.
The ultimate goal, and really the culmination of the entire process we've been discussing, is encapsulated in Habit 5. Think about what you were doing in English. This isn't just another exercise. This is about making English your default inner voice.
The default setting.
Precisely. It means consciously narrating your actions, your observations, your thoughts in English throughout your entire day, not just during dedicated practice times. When you walk, think, I am walking. When you cook, think, I'm chopping vegetables. When you feel an emotion, try to label it in English in your head.
Making it constant.
Yes. This transforms English from a learned skill that you have to consciously activate into an intuitive, automatic mode of thought. It becomes your default inner voice, truly making English an extension of your consciousness. Your brain is continually processing your world through an English lens, which rapidly accelerates your fluency. It's constant, low-effort immersion that weaves English into the very fabric of your mind, making it feel less like a separate language and more like your natural way of thinking.
Wow. So it's not just practicing for a few minutes, it's about making English your constant companion, your ever-present mental narrative. Okay, and to build on that, how do we move from simple narration to more complex expression?
Yeah.
Like telling a story, for instance.
That's where the final habit comes in. Habit 6. Practice storytelling in simple English. This moves beyond just isolated sentences or fragmented observations to coherent narratives.
Putting sentences together.
Exactly. For example, you might recount a simple sequence of events from your day. Yesterday, I went to the park, I saw children playing, I ate ice cream. The beauty of this habit is that it trains your brain to sequence events logically, connect ideas, and express more complex thoughts, even if the sentences themselves remain grammatically simple.
Building narrative skills.
Yes. This skill is absolutely vital for real conversations, where you frequently need to recount experiences, explain situations, share anecdotes, express yourself fully and coherently. It builds your narrative muscle in English, allowing you to transition smoothly between sentences to form a complete picture.
How can someone practice this?
Start by telling yourself simple stories about your day. Then maybe move to describing movies you've seen or books you've read, again, in simple English. The goal is to develop the ability to organize your thoughts and convey them in a flowing, connected manner directly in English.
This has been such a comprehensive deep dive, really changing how we approach English, isn't it? From understanding that fundamental problem of translation to implementing these practical, almost neurolinguistic steps and then cultivating these powerful long-term habits. It really feels like a complete roadmap to bypassing that mental interpreter.
It aims to be, yeah.
Let's maybe just quickly review what we've uncovered today, just to consolidate these insights.
That's a crucial point. How do we ensure these insights actually stick? How do we move beyond just understanding them to making them ingrained behavior? The answer really lies in active recall and consistent reinforcement. What we've discussed today, it isn't just information, it's like a new operating system for your brain when it comes to English.
New OS, I like that.
So to recap, we began by understanding why translating slows you down, identifying that huge two brains at once cognitive burden that just drains your mental resources.
Right, the bottleneck.
Then we laid out the 5 powerful steps to start thinking directly in English, moving from simply naming objects to internal sentence formation, vocalizing your thoughts, mimicking native speakers, and finally, keeping that mini English diary. Each step meticulously designed to build those direct associations and bypass your native language.
Building blocks.
Exactly. Then we explored practical real-world practice scenarios for home, outside, and work, showing how to seamlessly integrate English into your daily routines, making it a functional tool for every part of your life.
Making it useful.
We challenged your brain with those mental challenges for quick thinking, building your spontaneous, direct responses for common situations. And finally, we covered the long-term habits for fluent, natural expression, emphasizing the critical importance of daily self-talk, consistent immersion through English content, reading aloud, joining speaking groups, making English your default inner voice, and practicing storytelling. These habits are really the key to making English feel like second nature.
A complete toolkit.
Hopefully. Now, just to solidify this even further, let's do a really quick reinforcement exercise.
Yeah.
I want you, listening, to repeat these key sentences together with me slowly, consciously, with purpose. Feel the words forming, connect them directly to the meaning, and let them become your own effortless English thoughts. Ready?
Okay.
I am walking to the store.
Quietly. I am walking to the store.
I want to eat.
What? It is raining.
Right. It is raining. Pause quietly.
I feel happy.
I'm learning English.
Pause. I am learning English.
Good. That repetition helps reinforce those new pathways, making these phrases more automatic. It's active recall, designed to really embed the learning.
You've done a truly fantastic job today, everyone listening, engaging deeply with this material and these exercises, thinking directly in English. It truly is one of the most powerful, transformative steps you can take to speaking fluently, and crucially, to truly owning the language. It moves you beyond just memorization into genuine, spontaneous, natural communication. It's about making English a part of you.
Well said. And as you continue on this incredibly rewarding journey of language mastery, maybe consider this. What single English sentence do you find yourself using or thinking most often in your daily life?
Oh, interesting question.
Maybe it's I need coffee, like we mentioned, or what time is it, or I'm tired. Whatever it is for you, how can you leverage these techniques we've discussed today, naming objects, internal monologue, self-talk, listening, writing, real-world practice to make that specific sentence, and then countless others spring to mind with effortless speed and confidence, completely bypassing your native language. Focus on mastering the direct access for just that one sentence and watch how quickly that momentum carries over to everything else you say and think.
An excellent, actionable thought to leave us with. Focus on one, build momentum. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into unlocking direct English thinking. Keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep learning smart. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the topics that matter to you.